Good morning.
Dr. Allison Jordan.
Well, thank you.
I have to first of all tell you how proud I am of you.
I appreciate it.
I am so excited. You have your doctorate. So let's start with, if we can, the vision and the mission for Iron Lives.
Iron Lives is a positive opportunity program for area teenagers. So, our mission is to be the bridge between students and the community. Students are oftentimes behind the four walls of a public school or kept in a more isolated, insular environment, and we want to make sure that they're plugged into authentic, positive opportunities in the community and meet mentors as teenagers. We oftentimes say that teens aren't just the future, they're the right now.
Well, and they are the right now. And I think that they have a much bigger impact on a community. I think people have the perception that it's only adults, but that's not the case. I think the youth and especially teenagers start having an impact on our community so much earlier than they used to.
Right.
So let's just talk a little bit about your board because you have a great board.
Don't we?
You really do. I mean, I looked, and of course, I do a lot of research before I speak with people. And so tell me, how did you all get these people? How did they come to you? I mean, you've got a lot of talent.
Well, I say that I'm new-ish. So I've been with Iron Lives for a little bit more than a year and a half. I inherited a great board. So Derek Brown is the founder, and he is one of my colleagues from the K-12 world, and Derek makes such a difference wherever he is. And so he put together a board, and especially during COVID, they were really a working board. I'm the first full-time executive director. I'm the first full-time employee who is trying to really make a go of Iron Lives in a more scalable, sustainable nature. So I always look back at the history of the organization. It's been about 15 years, and part-time employees, sometimes no paid employees, and the board was really carrying a lot of the weight and the work, and they do it because it's worth it. I love that our board really believes in youth and really believes in the mission, and we've got a few more board members coming on that are going to help us go into this next phase, almost like Iron Lives 2.0.
Uh-huh. Well, we had Madison House of the Arts.
Ooh, they're great.
They are awesome, and they actually have two working boards. They have a young adult working board and then a typical working board, which I found unique. And we had the younger board here, which they were amazing.
I love that. That is one thing that I would like to see us do in this next phase of Iron Lives. We've always done a professionalism series with Iron Lives, like a dress for success or a dress for the job you want. We do interviewing, we do some etiquette. My goal is to train young board members. My goal is to take young professionals or teenagers and make sure that they're prepared to sit at any table. And I love that Chris and Madison House of the Arts have young people on their board. I want that to be the norm, because oftentimes when you see boards, and this is nothing against people of middle age or advanced age, but we need to have teenagers and 20 somethings on boards so they're trained so there is a succession plan.
Well, and not only that, I could be on your board. Any number of people could be on your board, but we haven't probably experienced or gone through what they have, which gives them such tremendous benefit from the program.
Right.
Which was what was unique about them. One or two of the people of the three that came were actually homeless, and they lived out of their cars. So when you have the people that have actually gone through things that specifically have the need fulfilled that you offer, then it's so much more impacting, I think.
Absolutely. And if you think about technology, I mean, just looking around the room, technology moves at such a fast pace. Social media has changed the life of an adolescent. We didn't navigate teenage years like this generation. And it's not bad. It's not better or worse. It's just very different.
Well, it's not better or worse, but the great thing is they're so computer savvy
Hmm.
and mechanical.
Right.
But I also have a hard time with the fact they don't play out in the yard as much as we probably did and get dirty and
We're
sweat.
working on that. Is that a segue into a question that you want to ask me?
I don't even have to ask you the question because it obviously is a segue, which means you can take that and run with that.
Well, we want to normalize putting the phones down, getting off the screens, going out and playing and being active. So one of the main tenets of Iron Lives is character-centered athletics. So it's important to be on a team. You're going to be a better employee because you've been on a team. You're going to be a better family member because you understand team dynamics and communication. And I mentioned this when I was late to the podcast today because I went to the wrong office. Failing forward, we show students what it's like to learn through losses. I think we learn from our mistakes as much or more as we learn from our victories. So there's a lot to be said about an athletic component or a team component. We partner with Lynchburg Area Youth Sports Initiative a lot, and that's a mouthful. So they call themselves Lazy. So Iron Lives is usually a part of the Lazy pop-up clinics where students and their families can come and learn about new sports and participate with college athletes. And I would say over 100 different individuals are involved in that. I can talk about youth sports or workforce and everybody will come to the table. And we think we're such a divided society right now. If I ask people about youth sports, they're all in. Everybody knows it's a good idea. And workforce, we all want kids to work. We all want people to be productive members of society. So the next Lazy event with Iron Lives as the main partner is a tennis afternoon at Riverside Park on September 10th. And it is in honor of Dr. Johnson. So those are Dr. Whirlwind Johnson's tennis courts. And we could talk forever about the importance of tennis and the importance of golf. Like sometimes business deals are made on the tennis court or the golf course. So we want people to understand that you don't have to be the best and you don't have to be a pro. But if somebody offers to take you to play tennis or to play golf, you want to know how to do it. You want to know the rules. You want to know the etiquette of those. It's interesting to talk about social norms on a tennis court or on a golf course. They're very different than some other sporting events. And there are just so many things that come along with tennis in this community. Boonesboro Country Club is a partner in that as well. The YMCA of Central Virginia. That's a sport that anybody, my mom still plays tennis very regularly, and I won't tell you how old she is, but generations of folks can play tennis from 5 or 6 years old until upwards of 80s. So we do a lot of really neat athletic related events, but it goes a lot deeper than just winning an athletic competition. It's really about teammates and the importance of being on a team, leadership, all the folks that you can come into contact with around sports in this area.
Well, it's when I was reading some of the website information and it was talking about, being part of a team. I think being part of a team applies to every single aspect of your life, whether it's personal or professional. It's if you know how to be a good team player in every aspect of your life, you're going to succeed.
Absolutely.
So that really stuck with me because it is such an enormous statement that is so incredibly true.
And I can't really go a lot into this collaboration, so the next time you invite me back, I hope I can tell you a little bit more about a music collaboration that we are getting ready to pilot. But I was talking to one of the music producers yesterday, and he said, I always try to get into a room where someone is better than I am. And I thought, wow, if we can model that, as leaders, if I can get in a room where I perceive that someone's smarter than me or has a skill that I haven't acquired yet, that's really neat.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to up your game. So we're trying to help teenagers do that as well. Get in rooms with people that are going to elevate you.
Well, I totally agree, because in my business, people say that you need to affiliate and surround yourself by people that are successful. And I have the same mindset. I want to surround myself at times by people that are much more successful than I am.
Right.
Because it's, how did you get to the next level, and how do you maintain being at that level? And, when you're at the top, it's lonely. So, people that are better are people that you should actually spend your time with.
And surround yourself with people who are open enough and authentic enough to give you feedback. Like, have you ever thought about trying this? Or, maybe I could teach you something. I love the concept of reverse mentoring. I think generations who are older, we always think we're going to impart something on the younger generations. They can teach us a thing or two. I love the current teenage generation. I love Gen Z. And they will help you advocate. They are very clear on. Yes. I love that Gen Z and millennials are more clear about their time away from work and work-life balance. I have been a martyr for most of my career, and I have not won any awards for that.
I don't think I have either, but that's my problem.
Yes, me too. That's a different podcast.
So, if somebody is interested in starting an Iron Lives program, what do they need to do? How do they do that?
Reach out to us. You can fill out a form on the website, and I've actually gotten a few inquiries in the last couple of weeks. So if it's in a K-12 setting, we have a pretty easy model that we can replicate. That is traditional Iron Lives programming in our K-12 settings. So we're currently in Amherst County schools, Lynchburg City schools, and Bedford County schools. And we have a pilot program in Charlottesville. So it's like starting a club. And typically there's a faculty sponsor, and we provide support and help with programming. And we want people to know that it needs to fit what your school and your student population needs. So each club looks a little bit different depending on when club times are during the day. Is it before school, after school, during lunch? We have all types of different models, and we'll help strategize what works best. We offer Iron Lives programming free of charge to schools. Our pilot program in Charlottesville had a grant, so there has been some funding there, but we offer Iron Lives programming free of charge. And to community organizations, we regularly work with the Lynchburg Youth Group Home, which is a residential facility where students are coming in and out from foster care or other court-ordered situations. We do programming free of charge there as well. So really just reach out. One of our favorite things to do is collaborate with our partners, and we'll help brainstorm. Even if you haven't quite figured out how it's going to work, we'll help you.
Mm-hmm. So, and each school has a faculty member that sort of spearheads that.
That is typically the model. We will offer as much support as people need, so we can come in and help offer the programming, but it makes more sense if it's an embedded member of the community. So if it is a faculty member, it's somebody that students know. Research shows that the mentor should be in a young person's life for at least a calendar year. So you don't necessarily want it to be somebody who is coming in and out of the scenario. Really, you want it to be somebody who is at least sustaining that relationship, that mentorship for at least a year.
Yeah. Well, if they've established a respect for that person already, then that's an immediate. And then if they have had some sort of interaction with those people, then that they already have those warm and fuzzies. So it makes sense that would be a positive, and that the program would grow so much faster.
Absolutely.
But that's just my thought. I went to Rustburg High School, so what do I know?
So did I. We know lots of things.
I know we do. I think Rustburg, quite frankly, is underestimated, because there's a tremendous amount of successful people, in this community and volunteer leaders that came from Rustburg. So I guess those teachers were on point.
Yes, I would agree.
I think they were anyway. So let's talk about some of the fundraisers that you do.
Yes, let's talk about that because that's a real need.
Yes, we always want to know about fundraisers and people participating, and most of all, donations and money. But you've got so many fundraisers. You have a lot.
Yes.
Fundraiser at the Lynchburg Hillcats. So that was in June.
That was more just an opportunity for people to come out and have a great night and fellowship. So oftentimes we offer opportunities for people to come out, and that was a small fundraiser. But we want people to know that spending time with your family, your friends, is a really huge part in overcoming negativity. So especially in this post-COVID world, come out and really engage again. Have those meaningful relationships.
Well, it's, having relationships and spending time with family and friends creates such not only a balance, but a positive mental attitude, which we all need. You have an Iron Lives 5K, and that is in Amherst?
That is in Amherst because Iron Lives was started and founded in Amherst County. So we have, I think it is the only road race through the town of Amherst. And it is a really neat course. Historically, it's been on a Sunday afternoon. And we do plan to do that in the spring. We've got a huge collaborative partnership in Amherst right now called Show Up Amherst. And that's between Amherst County Public Schools, the Amherst Education Foundation, and Iron Lives. And it's the importance of showing up to school, showing up as an employee, showing up for your family, showing up for your community. So we have a lot of fun events around the show up theme. So I'm pretty sure this upcoming spring, we're going to use the funding from the 5K that's held in Amherst to continue that Show Up Amherst initiative for a third year.
So it says the time is from 3 to 7.
That was this past year, yes.
So what's the time going to be this coming year?
Probably the same.
Well, the reason I ask is because I was a cross-country runner.
Yes.
And I also did.
I remember that about you.
Yeah, I did the mile and the 2 mile. And your best times to run during the day are between 3 and 7.
I have never heard anyone say that.
And most people say, I get up first thing in the morning and run, and your best time is between 3 and 7.
Bugs Dodging would be really proud of you for talking about that.
Well, and I think he might have been the one who told me that initially, and then I've actually read that other places. But yeah, he was my track coach, and we would run Depot Road from Main Street, Rustburg, over to English Tavern.
That doesn't seem safe.
Well, it was okay. But when you got down at the bottom and you were at that dairy cattle farm and it was a hot summer afternoon, that was not very pleasant. But it was 5 miles each way. But I loved and admired him. But the only time I didn't love and admire him was when he was riding in his car beside us, yelling at us and making us go faster or making us do Falklets or something like that. It wasn't good.
So think of how he was using some of the strategies that we still use in Iron Lives today. He was your mentor, he was your coach, he was helping you overcome negativity, all the things.
Everywhere except in that algebra class.
Yes.
So you have a Iron Lives fundraiser, Bedford Area Chamber of Commerce, Live to Lead.
Yes, so we offer some leadership programming, and my 2:00 meeting today is about what that is going to look like for this year. So I have a really hard time with fundraisers that are just self-serving. I want people to walk away with something. I want it to be mutually beneficial for the organization. So as the leader, I really obsess over what our fundraisers are going to be because I want them to also have merit in the community. So that was a fundraiser where we shared some of John Maxwell's teachings on leadership and communication with the community.
So why with the Bedford Area Chamber of Commerce? How did that happen?
That one of our board members, Monique Minnick, is a partner with the Bedford Chamber and does their version of the leadership courses. So that was through Monique.
Awesome. Ready, Set, Empower.
Yes, that was a fun.
Oh, you smiled. You like that one.
Yes,
I know you like them all, but
that was the event out in Bedford for the young ladies, with the Manor, showing them about female entrepreneurship, female business owners. So that was not really a fundraising event, but that was a programming event. That one makes me smile.
So you said at the Manor.
Mm-hmm.
You mean West Manor?
No, that was Ashwood Manor.
Oh yeah,
yes,
the White House
used to be the white brick house.
Yeah,
and the owner there is fabulous and told the story of how she started out at Mary Kay and talked about that experience and how she owns the Manor and gives lots of people opportunities to own their own businesses. And she was so incredibly generous to the young ladies in our program. That was a neat afternoon.
That's amazing. You should.
Let me talk about mustaches for kids.
You talk about mustaches.
Okay,
for kids.
So we're one of the recipients for mustaches for kids. So I brought a fake mustache today because one of the after school, one of the back to school events this year, where there were thousands of people. If I'm going to be outside and there are going to be thousands of people and it's 100 degrees, I'm going to try to do something funny. So my theme was Iron Lives Mustachio Question. And I put on a ridiculous mustache, and the people were putting on ridiculous mustaches, and we were talking about, are you involved in an after-school program? Because I really want parents in the community to understand that our kids are the most vulnerable between the hours of 3 and 6.
Yes.
That after-school time is so important. So I was saying, I must ask you a question. Are you involved in something after school? There's so much research that shows if you do something for 3 or 4 hours a week after school, you're going to have so much more resilience. You're going to have so many more assets. Think about cross country. Think about the things that we've already talked about here. So if you're involved in a club, a program, you're going to have so many more assets in your adult life, and you're going to be occupied during the most risky time for adolescence. Now that I'm raising one, I have a 13-year-old. It's a very humbling experience. Now that I'm raising one, he needs to be busy between those hours. And we've had school where it's very much a controlled setting. In those after school hours, they need to have time to be themselves, pursue a passion, get some energy out. So I'm really, really on a crusade for after school programming. But I wanted to tie it into mustaches because we are getting ready to go into that mustache growing season in November. And I am getting ready to talk to the mustaches folks about how we can tie this into some things that we do with Iron Lives.
I'm always amazed at how many of those guys get money out of me.
Yes.
And then the problem is you give to one, so you have to give to 5, because then one year I said, well, I guess somebody texted me and they said, well, I guess such and such is a better friend to you than I am.
Oh, the old peer pressure.
Like the guilt trip.
Yes.
So no, he's not. So let me give you some money. But they raise a lot of money.
They do. And they bless so many people. It's not just in November or December. They bless people throughout the year.
So there's community service opportunities.
Yes. But not like you're in trouble. People think community service is because it's court ordered or because you've done something bad. It's really more of the service learning, the volunteering. I'm a research nerd, so if you can get kids to contribute to their community, that's really the ultimate goal of positive youth development research, is to get kids to feel like they can contribute. And it doesn't cost money to contribute. I really wish that adults understood that as well. Like, you can absolutely donate your money. And if you have some that's laying around that's extra, please donate it to Iron Lives, because teenagers are worth it. But you can donate time. You can donate your talents. There are so many ways. And teenagers, you don't have to have money to go out and help local nonprofits. One of my favorite things that we did recently is we worked at the Pier Street Garden. We transplanted beets during one morning. I didn't know that was going to be what they needed, but that's a garden that is open to everybody in the Pier Street neighborhood, and gardening is cathartic. We do a lot of collaboration with Parkview. You know, there are ways that you can volunteer forward facing with the public, but there are also ways that you can volunteer behind the scenes there if you don't necessarily want to interact that way. So we want to show teens that there are so many ways that you can give back to your classroom community, your family, your school, the greater community, and we'll do it with you.
Well, when I bring on a new real estate agent, one of the first things I tell them is a big key to your success is volunteerism.
Absolutely.
And pick at least one thing, but preferably a couple of things, and get involved. And don't get involved because you're going to get business. Get involved because, from my perspective, it's going to make you feel so much better.
Right.
It's going to make you feel better about yourself. It's going to make you feel better about your community and then when you feel better and your mind is so much more positive. I wake up every day and I have 3 challenges. And the first 3 challenges that I write down is, how can I do something for someone, 3 different people in that day? And that's the way I start my day. So I think that, and it's what's amazing to me, it's 365 days a year. It doesn't take me but 30 seconds to figure out what I can do. And some of that may be just reaching out to someone. Like, I have a friend that's just had a major cancer surgery. So, just take 10 minutes and give that person a call and have a conversation with them and ask them if they need anything. And I feel so much better.
That's amazing. That's very much an atomic habit of yours.
Well, I'm a little attentive.
And the fact that you wake up each day showing gratitude and giving back. We talk to our young folks a lot. And anything we do in Iron Lives, adults should do too. So it's not all just for teenagers. Every adult should have these reminders. Showing gratitude actually produces dopamine.
Yes.
So it's the exact same chemical in your brain as if you're holding a puppy or a baby. So be grateful. It's good for you, and it's really good for whoever you're showing that gratitude.
And I need all the dopamine.
Yes, don't we all?
So I'm going to ask one more question, because I was said there's a lot of other things in here, but you all had a Change for Change donation.
Oh, yes.
We have 2 minutes, so tell me about that really fast, because I found that very interesting.
So Change for Change reached out and blessed us with $4,000 from the Little Green Meters. So a group of people in town collect the change out of the green carrying meters, and there are businesses, corporate partners who match. And every time they get to $1,000 in the green change meters, they let their corporate partners know, and we were gifted with $4,000. We were so blessed by that because it came at the perfect time. We used the $4,000 for a program called Swim to Work, where we trained area teenagers who attended alternative schools how to swim. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to make sure that everybody had a life-saving skill of swimming, but our goal was to see how many of the participants could also train for the lifeguard certification. So 9 students completed the program, and 2 of them passed the lifeguard certification and are currently employed at the YMCA of Central Virginia. So that was a collaboration between Iron Lives and YMCA of Central Virginia and the Downtown Teen Center, and Change for Change paid for the entire program.
Well, our time's up. Told you it would go fast.
I know.
So, Dr. Allison
Invite
Jordan,
me back.
I'm going to invite you back. I am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.